am Valencia Lee, owner and founder of Valencia Lee Publishing Company. I have over 10 years of professional writing experience. I have published over 10 books for university professors, law enforcement officers, nonprofit organizations, including myself. I am also the editor and co-founder of Whylie Magazine. I have extensive experience, writing knowledge in grants, sponsorships, business plans, and research papers. And by high demand, I bring to you everything I know about writing grants. So stay tuned. So before we begin, let's discuss exactly what a grant is. A grant is money given to an individual, an organization, or another entity for the benefit for the public good. It is free money that you do not have to pay back. And there are billions of dollars available for you to get grants. Me personally, I'm not a huge fan of grants. I'm into more sales and sponsorships, but hey, grants are available. You can get a lot of free money from having grants that you don't have to pay back. So, where do you find these grants would be your next question. Now, I am a huge fan of TexasGrantWatch.com. It's actually grantwatch.com. You can actually narrow it down to exactly where you want to go. It has a filter here. You can choose what city and state you're in. I'm in Texas. It asks you who. If you're looking for nonprofits and individuals, small business, whoever you are, we're going to click on individuals here. We're going to choose your categories. Let's do arts and culture. And we're going to search. Now, the difference between this grantwatch.com, this one does require a subscription fee that you can pay weekly or monthly or yearly, but there are grants for days on this website. This is one of my favorite websites. If this doesn't work for you, you can always go to grants.gov, grants.gov. It is a free website from the government, and it has a lot of different grants listed here also. So you have two different websites where you can go and find a ton of grants. The same thing with grants.gov. It also has a filter to the left where you can click on exactly what you are looking for if you're looking for a grant. So all that is here also. So, but like I say, Grant Watch is one of my favorites. So let's go back to that. Now, who is eligible to get a grant? Anybody can get a grant, whether you're an individual, your organization, small business, institutions such as schools, banks. Everybody is eligible for a grant. So, like I say, just make sure you read the eligibility requirements when you are requesting a grant. Just make sure you read it because it can vary from age, demographics, where you live, exactly what you do. For me, exactly. Sometimes I can look for grants and it might say we're giving $10,000 to an unpublished writer. Well, that wouldn't apply to me because I'm a published writer, so I wouldn't be eligible to apply for that grant if it says that. So just make sure you read the description of the grant. Make sure you make the deadline to the grant. To also, like, some of this stuff is like really important to know. Just make sure you do research. I'm not promising you it's going to be easy. I'm just telling you what I know about doing a grant. So if you use these two, you should be pretty good. I found a lot of grants for a lot of different people and helped a lot of different nonprofit organizations get grants using both of these websites. So they both work really good. And make sure you stay to the end because I'm going to give you a really, really good secret that I learned over time as far as doing grants and being in sales and just being around different people. So make sure you stay to the end because I'm going to give you the ultimate secret to getting grants. Now, what can you get a grant for? You can get a grant for almost anything. I'm a writer, so I try to find different grants for writing. You can find a grant for medical institutions, for research. This one here says Academy for Women Entrepreneurs 2023. So that would be a good one to look into if you're an Academy for Women Entrepreneurs. They have an award ceiling. It gives anywhere between $10,000 to $40,000. So as you see, it has a lot of information here, additional information on eligibility, not-for-profit organizations, non-governmental organizations. So just make sure you're reading the eligibility requirements, and it gives you additional information here. It also tells you who you can contact. This is a good information to have when writing a grant, because when you're writing a grant, you might have a question and you might need to reach out to an individual. So these are different ways that you can find a grant. Like I say, anybody can get a grant, whether it's arts and culture, mental health, community service, you're disabled, grants are available to you. No one is exempt. All right, so let's get to the bread and butter of a grant. So we're going to talk about how to write a grant. Now, for me, when I'm writing a grant, I always kind of start backwards with the budget, but I'm just going to give you all the information that you need from top to bottom. So one of the first things you're going to need is your executive summary. Executive summary can also be called the project summary or project abstract. It can have multiple names here. But here is where you describe who you are, what you want with the company, and how much money you need. And you have to be able to do that here in one paragraph. So, for instance, let's say I'm trying to get a grant for my book tour that I'm going on, and I need an executive summary. I would say something like, I am the owner and founder of Valencia Lee's Publishing Company, established in 2022. I have published over 10 books for law enforcement officers, university professors, and nonprofit organizations, as well as myself. I've gotten 2 bestsellers. I'm award-winning publisher and award-winning editor. I am requesting $100,000 for my book tour between February and June. That's my executive summary. I told them exactly who I am, my accomplishments, because you always want to make yourself look good here. You want them to keep reading. The money, and what I was going to do with it. So that's your executive summary. That's what you want to make sure that you have in that first paragraph. Keep it nice and simple. When they read that first paragraph, they should know everything they need to know about you. It's like an elevator speech, basically. So that is your executive summary. I usually write this last because it's a summary of everything that I've came up with in the body of the work, which we're about to go through. So next, let's go through. So next would be my organization history or background. This is going to go in a little bit in depth about who I am. So, like I say, I mentioned a little bit about who I was in executive summary. I would say something like, I am Valencia Lee, established in 2022. I've published multiple books. I've also lobbied. I'm in sales. I do short films. I would just go more into depth about who I am and what my company does, about me winning awards and just making here, you just want to continue making yourself look good. What have you done in the past that makes this organization wants to give you $100,000 versus the person next to you? So this is where you build yourself up, and you want to make sure that you have everything, all your reviews. If someone left you a review, have all that here. If like, just this is where you want to sell yourself, here on the organization history and background. After you are done with this part, you are going to go into your project description. Now, if I'm doing a book tour, I'm going to be very in depth about what I'm doing. I'm going to be, what I say, from April to June. That's 2 months. So I'm asking for $100,000. I am going to tell them that I am going to do 3 to 4 podcasts or radio interviews a week. My goal is to sell 20 books a week. My goal is to have a fundraiser while I'm traveling. And while I'm doing all this, just make sure that you mention that the logo will also be visible as well, if that's something that the grantors request for view. But it's most of the time it's for public entities, so it's mainly like, what are you doing in the public to help the public? So most of the time when I do nonprofits, I might work with a lot of mental health people, where we go out and we counsel and do different things with people of that sort. So your project description is going to say what exactly you are going to do with the money. If you have people going with you and you have to pay them, add that. Just make sure, if you're going to be filming, if you're going to need merchandise product, make sure you add that you're going to be selling that and all that in your project description as well. Now, the next thing after that would be specific goals. Anytime you're doing something, you want to make sure you set a goal. So if I have a specific goal, I would want to, like, I have a YouTube channel. If I'm going on tour, I would want to grow my YouTube channel. That would be one of my specific goals, to say that I'm reaching, and it's measurable. You can actually see the growth. I can also say from my website, social media. So there's different ways that you can actually set goals on how you're meeting people, and you can be able to attain them and measure them as well, because your goals have to be measurable. So you just can't say, oh, I'm going to get 200 subscribers. Like, you have to prove it, and you have to say that you show that you're going to be able to do it and be able to reach that goal. You just can't say you're going to be able to do it. So make sure you're very specific here with your specific goals, and make a timeline on when you expect those goals to be complete. Grantors love that also. So make sure you are very adamant and detailed about what goals you plan on doing with the grant money that you are getting. After that, then we are going to go into the project budget. This, like I say, is usually one of the first parts that I do, because it's probably the most important part of the grant, the budget. And with grants, you have to be very specific. There is no guessing. So if I say I need 1,000 copies of my books, and that book is $7 each, and I want 1,000, I better put $7,000. Don't put 7,001, don't put 7,002. Like, you have to be very exact on what you are doing with the budget. So the budget takes a little bit more research than anything else, because you will be online searching websites, trying to figure out what you need to make your project happen and how much it's going to cost. This is, like I say, very important part to me. This is the part where I usually start at with the budget, because I need to know how much it's going to cost for me to do this, how much I need to ask for, and how much I need to build in my executive summary, organization history, and project description and goals to be of value, to add that number, to make it match that number. What you putting in the rest of the stuff has to match what you're doing in the project budget. You can't say you just ask for $100,000. You're doing a show one night and it doesn't add up to $100,000. Like, you need to be able to express and explain what you are doing with the money. That is very, very crucial. So that's why after you do your project budget, you will actually have what you need is a budget summary. So basically my budget summary is everything is written about everything that I did in the project budget. So if I said I'm using the funds to do a tour, if I'm using the funds for merchandise, if I'm using the funds to advertise, like I would actually mention it and say that's what I'm going to do here. If I'm going to be tutoring or working with somebody, I'm going to say that here. The numbers is in the project budget, how much it's going to cost. The budget summary is in wordings, what you're going to exactly do with it. If you're traveling, you're going to say that you traveled. Product, equipment, like all that stuff. This is where you actually list all the things that you are going to need to actually make the budget happen. So that's that with the budget summary. And like I say, you can, as far as the budget, you want to be as detailed as you possibly can with it. You do not want to go around any bushes or go take any shortcuts with that part. One of the things that I usually add, but it's not necessary, is my key members. I work with a lot of prominent people. I have a lot of good people around me that's also credible. So I always list the people that I'm working with around on my team. It's not necessarily necessary, but it does make you look better on paper. And that's the ultimate goal here, is to look good on paper. So I do list my key members. It's not nothing that you have to do. It's just something that I do. So if you're working with a lot of prominent people on a project, list them. There's nothing wrong with it. It will help increase your chances of getting a grant. Last but not least, you're going to come with the conclusion. The conclusion is basically, it's going to take you back up here to the executive summary. It's pretty much the same thing. I'm going to go back and say the same thing I just said, but I'm going to add everything that I did in the description, how it's going to entangle in the goals, the project budget, and the budget summary, and the people that I'm working with. Then I'm going to ask for the money and tell them that it will work in their favor. But you have already shown them that in the previous part, so they know. So for the conclusion, I would say something like, thank you for your time, for allowing me to submit my grant proposal. I hope I have answered all your questions. My company has been around for a long time. We have exceeded many expectations and received and been recognized for many awards. As you see, we will be a great asset to the public if you award us this grant. So it would be something like that if you want to do the conclusion. I'm literally doing this off the top of my head, but that's something that the conclusion would say, and it would actually have everything. You can list your name, your email, and your contact information, and be like, if you need more information, then reach out here. But you don't want them to ask for more information. You want to have all of your information here on the screen. Now, grants, they usually vary depending on length. Like I said, your executive summary for sure. You want this to be one paragraph for sure. No more. Your organization background, you're probably safe with about 1 to 2 paragraphs. Project description, it really doesn't matter. It just depends on, like I say, project description is going to go more into what you're doing. Is if your budget is $100,000 versus $10,000, of course, your project description and your goals are going to be more, and that's just how it comes. So your conclusion, this should also be 1 page. Key members, it doesn't matter if you have 50 key members, if you have 1 key member listed. That's my best advice to you. So these are the steps to writing a grant. I hope and pray that I was as specific and detailed as I possibly could. I will leave my email address in the box below if y'all have any questions, because I do want to make sure that people are getting all this free money out here. It's the end of the year, so people are about to file their taxes, so it's the perfect time to actually get grant money right now. So everybody is not going to ask for all the information that I have here. When you go to some databases for grants, some might just ask for the executive summary, the project description, the budget, and the conclusion. I'm just giving you all the steps. So when you go enter it into whatever grants database, you already have the information here. Some people will ask for all the information I gave you. Some people won't, but you will have all the information that you need to complete a grant. I will say this, like I say, I was going to keep the best secret for last. Regardless of how you write this, you don't necessarily have to be a writer to write a grant, to be honest with you. Just be descriptive and explain. And it's going to take me back to the last page that we were looking at here when I was saying that they have some type of contact information out here. If they have a contact information with a number or something where you can call and talk to the person, the grantor, call them. Like, I can't express that. Call them if they got a number. Like, your grant is not going to matter. You probably won't even have like the best idea what you're going to do with the grant, but they'll give you the grant just because they like you and they think you're a good person, even though you probably don't deserve it. So building relationships in any field is going to get you very far in life. So that's going to be my best advice. These are the secrets to writing a grant. I have given you all the steps. Like I say, to review, you want to make sure you got your executive summary here. Then you want to make sure you got your organization history and background, project description, specific goals, your project budget, budget summary, key members, and your conclusion. Those are the main things that you want to make sure that you have for a grant. And there is billions of dollars out here for grants. So I hope I explained this. I hope everybody gets something from this. I will create a template that everyone can use also. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and email me, and I will send you a template that you can use to make this even easier for you. But I thank you for your time. Like I say, I hope somebody got something from this, and I hope everything works out for you, and I wish you the best of luck. I am Valencia Lee. Thank you.